Good evening, everybody. Lo and behold, we'll be talking about sports podcast, and we're back with episode 2 of the MLS Minute. And we got some highlights playing for you guys here from the Austin FC match this past weekend. We had Rich in attendance. Rich, first reaction from the crowd. How was the home atmosphere in that game? I know we didn't get the result, but how was it inside of O2?
Oh, the atmosphere was great, especially when we got that second one. But as soon as that unfortunate event happened, I'd say it probably killed a lot of the atmosphere going on. But the supporters group never stopped singing, so that was great. They were
And I
there.
saw the Tifo, excuse me. That was on par.
Yeah, the TiVo was beautiful. I think it was one of the best in the league this week.
And Ben, I know you didn't make it out to the game as planned, but you were watching on that Apple TV broadcast. What do you have to say about the broadcast, and then give us your takes on the game?
Yeah, got to big up Apple. I think it was pretty clean. I know me and Justin were talking about it, after the game of the upgrade it is from watching it on ESPN Plus. Really, really good graphics, good everything. I mean, just a disappointing game, guys. We came on here and we talked about, how this St. Louis team wasn't going to have much offense and they were just going to be pressing, and just the biggest, mental mistake that you can make in soccer. When a player throws his hands up on his head, right after doing what he does, it's never good. But it was a high scoring game, 3-2. So nonetheless, a very exciting game. Obviously, didn't get the outcome that we wanted. And that back line, and we're going to talk about the back line and the defense, but new year, same Austin FC as far as that goes, guys. I know it's something that we said that they really had, more or less focused in on to fix, because it was the glaring hole, and it seems to be there again. So I'm interested to talk a little bit about that, with Rich and Roland. But yeah, man, awesome to get the season started. It was a good weekend of MLS, soccer, but what a disappointing, outcome, losing to the expansion team, St. Louis.
Yeah, and before we get back into the ins and outs of the game that happened on Saturday, I'm glad you mentioned it was a great match day one for the MLS on Saturday. 22 of the 29 teams were in action this past Saturday. And this past Saturday marks the first time in MLS history that there were two crowds in excess of 60,000 people. Hashtag grow the game. Do you guys like those numbers? Rich, do you know what the attendance was like in Austin?
I want to say it was like 20,000.
See, there's good numbers all around the country. And I think those two stadiums that got over 60,000 were in Atlanta and Charlotte. Charlotte, the newest team, I want to say, other than St. Louis and Atlanta. We all know what they have there. And they had an exciting game as well. But let's get back into the game. As we all know, Austin FC, they did lose 2-3. Sebastian Driussi and Gallagher were the two goal scorers. And we talked a lot about, or we touched on it, last time, the expected goals versus expected goals against. We lost that battle also, 1.5-2, and that was on 60% possession versus 40% for St. Louis. So when you guys look at that and you see that we had the 60% advantage, do you have anything to say in regards to that? Were we not doing much with the possession? Was it sloppy play? What were your thoughts in terms of when you look at the possession and the result of the game obviously not going in our favor?
From what I saw, I mean, it was just a little bit of lack of creativity, in the final third. Obviously, we threw that Hail Mary to Drusi right before the half, and he did it. He went God mode and made, possibly scored the goal of the year, up against that St. Louis third goal, which was nasty, outside foot, right foot, opposite corner. But this chip by Drusi was amazing, but I just thought that it was a lack of creativity in the final third. Obviously, we signed that new striker, and boy, he suited up, but that's about all he did, because he didn't do shit else. So, it's game one. I don't want to overreact, because that is what we tend to do, but very, very underwhelming performance, bro, especially, as a fan wanting them to be considered as one of these elite teams. Here you are, served up this cake. In the MMA world, we talk about serving up opponents. That's what this was. Hey, here's a new expansion team. We know how Austin FC's first game of expansion went. It was a loss, and it was a decisive loss. So very, very bad outcome here. But good thing that they scored 2 goals. This still is the same Austin FC that does score goals.
And what about you, Rich? When you look at this game, and Ben mentioned the lack of creativity and the attacking third, and then the addition of Zardes not really, panning out game one, albeit. What was your takeaway on Zardes? And we'll get into the player grades in a little bit, but what do you think of the new addition in his first night?
I will say, credit to Zardes. His work rate was insane. I saw him. He was pressing the ball all the way down to the back line, so he was all over the place. However, the finishing lacked. I thought he was going to have one of those really nice back flicks, one of those goals right there when he got that first corner or first cross. But needless to say, that's pretty much as close as he got to goal the whole game. He was kind of non-existent in front of goal. I wanted him to hold up the ball more. He had a few instances which he did, but then again, like Ben said, our final third was lacking. I was super unimpressed with the wingers. Rigoni, same as always. He looks like a one-trick pony. He had one nice cross, but he doesn't really do much. We pretty much relied on Driussi like we did all of last season. So it's kind of disappointing to see nothing really change in that regard.
Interesting. And thank you for that insight. And before we go into the next topic that we're going to touch into, getting into more of the, the issues that are facing this Austin FC team after game one, I do want to point out to the graphics and everything that we got going on here. If you guys have been with us from the beginning, you'll notice that this is a big upgrade for us. So shout out to everybody that's watching with us here on the stream tonight. And if you guys can, please retweet, share whatever you guys are watching. It's much appreciated. And shout out to Justin and Ron, as always, stepping up their game on the graphics here with this lovely video that we're talking over right now. So without further ado, let's get into it. Red light for Los Verdes. Let's just start and stop here on the number one, Julio Cascante to the IR. Rich, Ben, you two were the first two on my phone breaking this news as expected. What was y'all's initial takeaway when you saw this news?
We're in trouble.
Yeah, this was Rich's guy. I mean, Rich really said that he wanted to see what Cascante was going to give us, in that center back position. And in the first 10, 15 minutes, he was out of the game. I mean, talk about a buzzkill, bro. Talk about some blue balls. I mean, damn it, boy. He's injured. They're saying that he'll be reevaluated in 8 weeks. I mean, it's good that it's at the start of the season, but this is when he's supposed to be finding his groove, with the new team and making his plays. So very, very concerning, especially because I think Austin only came in with 4 center backs. We saw what one of them did later in the game. So the replacement, had he not gotten hurt, maybe Austin FC is never in that position. So, Rich, I know that you had high hopes for Julio. Obviously, devastating injury, out 8 weeks. I mean, we're going to talk about the CB depth on the next one, but what does this mean for Julio Cascante?
I think, it's really disappointing. We're not going to have our top 2 center backs and the pairing together for at least 8 weeks now. The severe left abductor strain, he's the kind of center back that plays the ball out of the back, and that's what we need in Wolf's offense or Wolf's system. And without him, we're going to struggle to move the ball up the field. I'm really hoping the depth that we have can fill in. We got to get behind our guys, but it was tough this last game.
Yeah, I mean, and we have the commenter even here saying Keller will be better prepared training with the starters all week. Give it a week or two. So kind of going towards your point of we got to get behind our guys because it might be all we got right now, right? So, yes, that's going to happen. You'll definitely learn from that. You'll definitely learn from that mistake. But are we okay going back into, match 2 with Keller starting?
No, I don't think Keller starts. I really think Amro Tarek, the Egyptian-American guy we got from as a free agent, is going to fill in. I think Wolf said that he wasn't too familiar with the system. That's why he didn't play, and that's why Keller got the fill-in role. So I'm hoping to see that he's at least steady in the back line. We don't need a superstar. We just need someone that doesn't really commit mistakes and can hold that steady line because Vicenen looked really, really good last game.
All right.
Yeah, so that covers pretty much 1 and 2 because Julio Cascante on the IR, and you guys are just touching on, the center backs that Austin FC has left to fill in those voids. So just right off the top, before we move on, who is going to be starting Rich for center back on Saturday?
I really think Amro Tarek's gonna be starting. I know that he had.
I'm
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with Keller, bro. I'm
Really?
gonna go with Keller. Yeah, I think that Wolf sends a message. We've seen some quotes from the players, throughout the week saying that they're gonna get behind Keller. He's a young guy. Obviously, we started a bunch of young cats, and he came in relief, but in relief early. I really think that they're gonna go with Keller again. Whether they do the substitution for him, mid game or not, I think that Wolf is gonna send a message and kind of say like, "Hey, look, we're still behind you." I'm not saying he's going to play all 90, but I do think that he'll get the starting nod.
I'd like to see that happen. That would really give him a lot of faith in himself that seemed to be lacking in his decision.
I mean, Rich, if he benches him, he's pretty much done for the season as far as confidence goes. So give him another start. Let him play a half, see if he makes a mistake. If he doesn't make a mistake, but if you bench the kid, his self-esteem, everything, he's done for the rest of the season. And we only had 4 center backs. That would take him away as well. So that just lowers numbers. You got to start him, give him the half, let him feel some confidence. And we'll get into it later, but we're not playing the most threatening of teams. So this might be a good spot for him to get right and gain a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, and last on this list, just to transition real quick, Wolf over Alex Ring. Do one of you two care to expound upon that? Because I have a feeling that Rich is not too fond of Mr. Alexander Ring right now.
Ring brings a lot to the table in leadership and tenacity on the pitch, but I think I might be one of the few that really wasn't impressed with him when he came on this last game. He was kind of all over the place. Decision making was a bit late. He did provide the toughness that we were missing, and I think that Wolf's missing sometimes just because he's still a young kid. But not a fan of Ring as a starter right now.
What did you see anything from Wolf to solidify his spot? Because I know we were both kind of on the Wolf wagon. Obviously, he's the coach's son, also 18, 19 years old.
Yep, 18.
Got the starting nod over the captain, who had just gotten stripped. And, obviously they named Driussi the captain, but Ring was the captain and went to bench player. Usually when that happens, it's because the player might be leaving the team or there might be finding an out for him. So why are we not going to at least start him? Yes, he might not be the captain. What did you see from Wolf? Did you see anything from Wolf that says he deserves that spot besides being the coach's son, to be frank?
I did like he had some nice 1 and 2 transitions. I know he sees the pitch well. He was out muscled. He did make had some errant passes, but in my opinion, Ring's not gonna get the DP contract for next season. He's on like a pretty expensive contract. As a depth role, I think we should play him in because our future is Wolf. And that's where I stand right now. I want to see like a more offensive, possibly more dynamic player. Ring, we know what Ring brings to the table.
Toughness, that's what we need, Rich. We need toughness, bro.
I know, but Ada was pretty tough this last game. He killed it.
He was the one bright spot back there, but I'm like I said, I was all with Wolf starting, but man, we need some toughness. We can't be getting bullied there. And he just wasn't very decisive, Wolf. So Ring wasn't spectacular. He didn't go above and beyond, but I just think that he's more consistent. And right now, we kind of just got to set a tone. Had we won that game and had we styled on the new franchise team, okay. But, bro, we lost to them. There's time to make some changes. Not going to fully overreact. But
that's what it sounds like.
We gotta wake up. No, we gotta wake up. That was embarrassing, bro.
Well, hey, this next segment will give you a chance to expound on what you're saying and actually put a grade next to it or a rating and say it with your chest when we're talking about these player ratings and what you actually thought about what they did out on the field. So we got 5 guys listed here. We're gonna start at the top. Just go with the new addition. I have a feeling Ben and Richie are going to be on opposite sides here. What is y'all's player rating for Zardes and his first game with Austin FC? I'll give it to Rich here.
I'll give him a C minus.
Good that you went with Rich first because this was an F. It was a total failure of a first appearance, bro. I mean, that back heel, he was offsides on. Had he touched that back heel in, he was offsides. It was a very poor performance. I think that his runs weren't in sync with the rest of the team. And obviously, that's just chemistry, right? He's going to have to play with them a while. The preseason, not all the starters play. You're going to have to get some game flow. But that was the biggest thing that I saw. He didn't really have any dynamic runs that we could speak of besides that one back heel. And I believe that he was offsides on that back heel, which he didn't even end up touching. But aside from that, I mean, we wouldn't have known that he was playing. I'm not trying to be that harsh, but, as being that big guy, we're back to last year, bro. We're back to relying on Drusy. Hail Marys to Drusy.
Gotta clip this when Zardes scores.
You gotta give him that work rate though. He was all over the pitch, man. He was all over the pitch.
Hey, he was getting that cardio in. That's about it, baby.
He was getting that
he was getting that cardio.
That Tony Snell. That Tony.
He
Snell
might as well have been on the Peloton because he wasn't doing shit on the pitch.
He's got that Tony Snell stat line. All right, next one. I have a feeling will be a little bit higher. And let me actually give my grade on Zardes. I'll give him a C. I'll give him, the benefit of the doubt on it was his first game with Austin FC, so he's not completely going to be in sync with the rest of the team. But I will give credit to what Rich was saying with his work rate was pretty consistent throughout the game, and I'll give him that with a C, although he didn't get a goal. Next player, Driussi, Sebastian Driussi, scored a goal at the extra time in the first half, 45 plus 4. I've seen some player ratings thrown out for him, pretty high. I'll give my grade first, and I'll let you guys go into more specifics.
Do not disrespect him.
I'm gonna give him a B+. I'm gonna give him a B+. So now I'm gonna give him an A. I'm gonna give him a B+ because it's obvious that he's still the motor for the team, and he netted. So I gotta give it to him.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the B+. I'm just what is lower, an A or an A minus?
An A-.
More.
Okay, I'm gonna go with an A- because he didn't have that many opportunities. He didn't create that many opportunities. But when he did, he obviously scored possibly the goal of the weekend, the goal of week 1. So I'm gonna give him an A- because with the opportunity that he had, he did convert. But we need more. We need 3 shots on goal. We need 4 shots on goal from Sebastian Driussi. Obviously, that does play with some of the wingers that we're about to get into, but I'm going to go A-.
Wow, Alan, I can't believe you do that, man. You're going to...
Hey, shout out Alan. What's up, baby?
Not Herbalife Galaxy jersey. Come on now.
What you got? What's your grade, Rich?
I got a B+. I'm on the train with Roll on a B+. He delivered when we needed him to. He was that captain role when Cascante got hurt. He was over there talking to him, trying to console him a bit. He tried to rally the troops when we had those unfortunate mistakes happen. There were some errant passes. There was some superhero ball, but then again, he was the only creative force we had on the field. So I don't blame him for that. If he would have gotten a second one or an assist, I think an A+ would have been in order. But for now, B+.
Okay, that's fair. Next one on the list, and shout out to everybody in the comments. Shout out Ron. Ron here being very pessimistic, saying Driussi regrets not going across the pond and going to Europe when he had his opportunity. Just game one, but shout out Ron. All right, next player here, Alexander Rigoni. Rich, what's your player rating for him?
Rigoni is a 5.
So that's like a D?
It's A through F.
Oh, sorry.
Like a D?
Yeah, I give him a D+.
Come on, that's Rich.
All right, my bad. D+. I give him a D+. I mean, he had that one nice cross, I think. Maybe a couple. But it's pretty much the same thing I've seen all season. He tries to hesitate, take the guy out on the wing. The guy doesn't fall for it. He tries to cut in, and then he has to pass it off. He pretty much did that the whole game. Pretty unimpressive, especially he's supposed to be one of our best attacking players because he's getting paid like it. So unimpressive, again, for Rigoni.
Yeah, pretty underwhelming. We talked about him scoring in the preseason, having 2 goals in preseason games. There was not much to be, happy or proud about with him. I agree with Rich. go with, a C minus, a D plus, whatever you may call it. He wasn't necessarily a negative, but he didn't do anything great. He didn't really stand out. Obviously, we're looking for more than crosses from him, right? We want him to be able to convert when he does cut in and get some shots on goal. I'm gonna go with a D plus.
Yeah, give me a. I was gonna say give me a D plus. Give me a D plus. I just got a little tripped up there with my words. But I have a feeling, the way that we have these players lined up here, this is like a little, happy, negative, happy sandwich for those of you guys that are watching with us here on the stream. The next player here is Keller, the much talked about defensive or center back, excuse me, for Austin FC. Guys, Ben, what's your grade for this guy?
Yeah, I mean, listen, had he not done that errant pass and gave, the ex-Austin FC player Stroud a one-on-one with Stuver, we wouldn't have lost that game. If we don't give up that, once we gave up that second one in the fashion that we gave it up in, the air was out of the building. We were either going to draw or lose, but there was no way of winning. You know what I mean? So I think if we never give up that goal, that third one doesn't even happen because we're playing with the confidence. I mean, you have to grade him an F, bro.
That was a FIFA goal. That's like when you mess up in FIFA and you pass it around.
And I mean, even the third goal, he was in pursuit. He got hit with the inside move, completely turned. Yeah, he turned his ass around. You know what I mean? Like, you got to give him an F. Again, I am on the side of start Kip Keller. Oh, buddy, Kip Keller. What a name, Kip Keller. He sounds like he should be on the starting 11. I hope that they start him. Even if you don't start him throughout the rest of the season, start him here. Don't kill his confidence. Don't show him that you've given up on him after one game. I know that there is players with visa issues and getting cleared of visas that might be able to help. But Kip Keller, this next game, guys, that's my biggest thing to look forward to. Will Kip Keller start? I really hope he starts, because if he doesn't, I think we're out another player. Although some might not think he's even up to par to be on the pitch. It's the depth that we have, and we got to work with it.
Yeah, I gotta give Kip Keller like an F minus, man. And, to be honest,
F minus.
If I could go lower, I would.
Yeah.
He was responsible for all three goals. At the beginning, he tripped, missed his marker, Tim Parker header, and then the second one, we know what happened. And the third one, he gets turned around by Joao Klaus, which is a 9. He's like a big slow guy, and this guy's out here turning around and making him fall over himself. That's embarrassing, especially somebody as athletic as Keller.
The first goal I put on Stuver, Rich. I don't think Stuver should have gone as out as he did. I almost wanted to put Stuver on here for the grades just to see where we had him. He's not on here, but I do want to know what rating you would give Stuver. I think that first goal was solely on him, bro.
Without Stuver, we would have lost 4. They would have put 5 on us, bro. He had like 2 amazing saves last game.
So you got Stuver might have been our player of the match.
No, I wouldn't say he was a player of the match, because they did put a lot past us. I'd give him like a B minus.
Okay, that's not.
Maybe a C plus.
Considering the circumstances for the second goal and him pretty much being dead in the water, and then the spectacularness that came out of that third goal, that's a ESPN top 10 goal.
Yeah,
the touch, the finesse that he put on that.
Sauced him up too.
They call that salsa in Mexico. Yeah. Salsa.
He sauced him there, and for me, just off of that pass alone, giving up the goal, like I said, that's like how you mess up in FIFA when you're trying to kick the goal from your goalie and you accidentally pass it to the defender on the other team, and you give up that easy goal.
And then you do this, rolling on camera.
That's exactly what my mind went to, and for that alone, that's an F right there. I hope he can turn it around. I know I said I would be on the side of somebody else starting over him, but if Ben gets his wish and he's able to turn it around and starts next game, I wish him all the best. Next player on this list, and like I said, a little happy negative sandwich, Fagundes, heart and soul, some would say, of this Austin FC team, not Sebastian Driussi, but he is, the heart and soul of the team. He had some moments, didn't net. What do you guys give his grade here?
Go ahead, Rich.
I give Fagundes a B for sure, at least. When he was there, he was trying to make things happen. He had a nice strike off a deflection that could have snuck in the bottom left. I was kind of confused as to why Wolf subbed him off. I think him and Brucey were looking good when they were on the pitch together. I really wish that he would have stayed in because I'm sure he would have, really helped our cause of trying to get that next goal. So I think I'm being conservative with the B, but I think he had a good game.
Yeah, I mean, but this is a 90-minute guy, though, Rich. This is not a guy that should be getting subbed out, especially fresh off that new deal. And that was like the unanimous opinion. Like, yo, why are we taking him out? You know what I mean? It's one of the heartbeats of the team. Like Roland said, could be Mr. Austin FC. Obviously, got that deal, core of the team. I'm with you. I'm going to give him a B, B plus, B minus. I'm in that B range. I think that he was consistent. Obviously, brings that toughness and leadership. I want to see somebody besides Drusi score, though, man. Rigoni, Fagundes, Zardes. Somebody has to net besides Drusi, bro.
Who do you think
to go along with it? Who scores first out of Rigoni, Fagundes, and Zardes? Who scores first, Rich, this season?
Zardes.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Fagundes.
That's a good one. It's definitely not going to be Rigoni.
If it's not Zardes, I think that's a problem. I think it has to be Zardes.
It has to be, bro.
It has to be because if it's because he's going to have the most opportunity by far. You would think out of these guys because he's in terms of the service into the box. He's going to have a lot of crossing opportunities. So yeah, I'd hope it's Zardes that puts.
Let's hope one of these guys breaks the ice this weekend and we revisit this next week. Talking about one of these guys scoring the first goal. Sure. And if it is Rigoni, hey, by all means, brother, help us out, Rigoni. Pepperoni.
Shout out Rick. Fagundes
shout out Rick.
Right side. He was there. He was posted. If you guys were following us on Instagram, a lot of those videos and pictures were coming from Rick's iPhone 14 Plus, which it's a great picture. And thank you for sending all of those in. And before we move into Montreal and what we have to go on and look forward to this week, I do want to touch again on Rich. You were there in the stadium. Does this feel like something that is going to be sustainable for Austin as far as the crowd and everything? The reason why I ask is because a lot of times that's tied to them winning. What if the season, I'm not going to say is not as successful as last year, but do you feel like this is something that is set in stone in Austin? We talked about the takeover.
Is it a stamp?
Yeah, it's a stamp. It's the team in Austin. Besides UT, it's the only.
Is it bigger than UT right now?
No, not right now. No, I don't think it could. We'd have to be a dynasty, I think, to surpass them or something like that. But I don't think the support's going to waver. I think it's going to be a full house every weekend.
It's UT and it's Austin FC, right? That's what they have. Yep. It's the only pro sports in the city. I agree with Rich. I don't think it's going to waver. It's one of the only stadiums where whether you're watching or you're there in person, you hear the crowd, bro. They do not. The whole game. They got 1-0, 2-0. The drum keeps beating. The chants keep coming. And it's one of those atmospheres. It's one of those things that you kind of have to be there, take it in. And you're like, oh, shit. I'm not going to compare it to, being across the pond, watching one of those games. But it does have a very good culture in Austin. They definitely embrace the hell out of that team.
Good. And well, we're all going to have to get up there as a podcast and catch a game here this season. But let's get into it. The next reason why we're here today, or the last reason, is to talk about match day 2, week 2 for the MLS. Austin, they have their next opponent. It's another team that dropped their opening match. It's Montreal FC. They lost to Inter Miami 2-0 this past Saturday. They did control possession, much like Austin, but did not net, however. So you look at the line, though, for Saturday. Austin is a short, or I call them a favorite on the regular time, plus 110, draw 240. Montreal as a comeback at plus 215 and minus 175 on the draw, no bet. Ben, you're the betting guy here. Where do your eyes drift here? We talked about the over last week, and that cashed easily. Are you looking back to the over here to cash again for Austin FC?
Over 2.5? Come on. We're talking about backline problems. Yes, Montreal is not, the biggest offensive threat, but we got this back line, that, us three could go and try out and possibly get some tackles back there with these boys, Kip Keller and them. So I do think that we concede one, bro. It's hard to think that Austin FC is going to keep a clean sheet. We're talking about the clear-ass problem being the center back. You got to think they give up one if Stuver isn't Superman. I see 2-1, 3-1. Obviously, this is the same shit I was saying last week. We got the goals, but the score prediction wasn't right. I really and last week we went up 2-1. Rich, when we're up 2-1, Austin FC goes up 2-1 to open the second half. I mean, what are the vibes in the stadium? Obviously, there you think, okay, this is all right. The train's rolling, right? The train's rolling.
Yeah, the atmosphere was there, man. We had the momentum. I really thought we were gonna put 3 or 4 on them, and then it happened. So, and like you said, once that happened, the atmosphere, it was like a
sucked out, gut punch. Gut punch. So yeah, Roland. I mean, right away, I see the over 2.5 minus 135. I see a 2-1, 3-1 outcome. Austin FC is going to be good for some goals. They're going to be one of the higher scoring teams in the MLS this year, but they are also going to give it up, whether it's to lower competition or upper competition. Give me a 2-1, 3-1 outcome over 2.5, and I think that's something I'm going to be saying for the whole season, bro.
Yeah, Austin FC overs for sure, especially at this 2.5. It's going to be hard to pass for me as well. That's probably where I'm going to be looking. And Rich, I know you're not super, into the betting world, but if you were to, pick a side here, you're not going to go against Austin FC. Are you willing to say that they'll cover here this plus 110 in regular time?
I really do. I got them 2-1. I think Montreal has a lot of losses this season from the second place team from last season. New coach. We're going to be hungry to put goals in the back of the net, and our backline's going to be hungry to prove himself. So, yeah, I got them 2-1.
Nice. And at home again, Rich. At home.
At home again. They're going to have another chance. Like you said, if Keller starts, he's going to have a chance for redemption. We'll see.
Yeah, I want to hear some Keller chants to open up that game with him in the starting. Give me 10 minutes of Keller chants and sub his ass out, baby. That way he's feeling himself a little bit. He knows he's loved. We forgive you, Keller. That game is not going to make or break the season. I really don't want to, exclude this guy from the team, guys, and just lose out on another option. I know he's not the best, and we keep talking about this, but, he's a warm body, guys, and he has a pulse, and we need some fight back there.
I mean, and he's young.
The confidence.
He's young.
Center back in the draft, last year. So he has potential. At least MLS starter potential. Right now, in my opinion, I think he's a starter in the USL, but we'll see if he proves me wrong.
And the comment said, what are y'all going to do if Austin FC loses? I think we're going to come on here and have a really, sit down and look in the mirror podcast next week if we lose this one. You got your revenge spot here at home behind the crowd. You got another team that you're more talented than on the pitch. You just got the game isn't won on paper, baby. Let's put it together. Let's get a decisive win, get on track, and come in and have a really good, positive, good ratings podcast next week, boys. That's what I'm hoping for. We're playing the team from Canada, okay? Besides maple syrup competitions, I don't know what Canada beats the USA in. So I'm really taking Austin FC here. 2-1, 3-1, like Rich said. Give me the over. Give me Austin FC. I said this shit last week, bro, and I feel like an idiot, but not twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. This one's on me, baby. This one's on me.
Fool you 3 times, you can't get fooled again.
No, after 2 times, I'm out. All right? After 2 times, I'm out.
Yeah, if they lose, Ben, you're right. It's going to have to be, a coming to Jesus meeting next week when we're talking about this podcast. And, I wasn't trying to be a devil's advocate last week, but we did talk about expected goals and how that could lead to some regression. And, it's only one game. It's only one game, but they've already taken an L. We'll see what happens in match day 2. We'll be here to talk about it next week. We are running a little long. Guys, any parting shots? Ben, I love the koozie there. I know you're going to be watching the game. What do you guys got going on this weekend? You guys going to be enjoying this game on Saturday with some possible, UFC?
Yeah, this is a 2 TV, kind of night on a Saturday. Got Austin FC on the small TV, John Jones on the UFC on the big TV. I mean, this is the Saturday that you want, with college football being over, here you go. fills in the void perfectly. Rich, I know you went to the first game. I don't know if you have plans of going this weekend or just watching on Apple TV, but what are your plans for the weekend?
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching on Apple TV, man. I'm gonna be excited to see what happens. Um, it's gonna be good. I really think we're gonna redeem ourselves this week. I will say, the breaking news about the pending transfer rumors on center back looking spicy.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
Rich.
it. Fill us in. Fill us in.
Okay, there's rumors that Austin is looking at Javier Arriaga from Seattle. He's a center back. He's from Ecuador. He can play out the ball. He plays the ball at the back. He's on a $700,000 contract, so we have room. And one of our
Pocket money.
and one of our center mids recently got a green card, so now we don't have an international slot. So that's where the smoke looks like it's coming from, Seattle. We'll see what happens.
And so, what would it take? I mean, obviously, we're talking, possibilities and hypotheticals. But what would it take to get a guy like that? Will we have to give up players? Would we just have to give up cash and buy him out?
Yeah, I think it would be cash and maybe some. I don't know if we have an international stuff, an extra one to throw around, but yeah, definitely cash and some sort of allocation. Maybe we even throw him a draft pick. Who knows?
Oh, a little 7th-round draft pick.
Little third rounder.
Yeah, sneaking a little 4th-rounder.
Hell yeah.
Hey, we appreciate everybody in the comments, man.
Yeah,
We got Ron, we got Justin, we got Rick.
Alan.
So Alan, yeah, boys. I mean, make or break, guys. I mean, let's not overreact, but let's keep it. Let's call a spade a spade. This is a must-win
Call a
game for
cat a
Austin
cat.
FC. I mean, how would we even feel about a draw here, Rich?
No,
No, right?
no draw. I mean, Vancouver's strength is their backline, but like I said, they lost like 5 key players from that second place team last season, and they got a new coach that left. So I really think we should pull the dub. If we don't, we're gonna have to.
And they got shut out by Inter Miami last week.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, that's not a
And
good look.
that's Gary. That's what Neville's team, right? They're not known for being offensive powerhouses. So I think we should put at least 2 behind these guys.
Yeah, well,
Hey, so this is a good spot for Austin. This is a good get right spot, and at home, boys. I really hope they don't let us down because, like I said, if they do, we're gonna have to have some serious conversations next week. But let's go out and get these 3 points on Saturday.
let's get these 3 points. Let's enjoy our weekend. Let's have a good game. Let's enjoy some UFC. Those of you guys that didn't have a chance, Ben and Justin went live earlier today. That video is available on We Talking About Sports. So go and check out that video. Ben and Justin gave some predictions, even gave a exact finish prediction on John Jones. So go and check that out if you guys
Shingles of
have any
elbows.
plans of checking out that fight this weekend. But that's it for me. I'm going to be watching the game this weekend. I'm going to be watching the fights, and I'm going to be with y'all. So laters.
Peace.